Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Admission Diaries, where we get up close and personal with the students from top universities around the world. Today, we have an exciting guest who's been studying in UC Berkeley. Please join me in welcoming Asad Shahid. Hi, Asad.
Hi, Kizran. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you very much for joining us today. So, Asad, I'm just going to dig in right into the questions here. Um, how did you decide to apply to UC Berkeley? What made it the right school for you?
Yeah, so a little bit more about my background. I am a third year at UC Berkeley, and I transferred to UC Berkeley. So over here in the US, you can go ahead and take the community college route, where you go to high school, and then you transfer to a community college afterwards, where you complete your general education requirements and most of your lower division requirements, and then you can go ahead and transfer as a third year to any almost any university. So so that's the route I took.
Okay.
And I decided to apply to Berkeley straight out of high school as well. However, right after high school, I did not get in, unfortunately. So I really did not want to lose hope for getting into this university. I really had a deep sense of connection with this university. Um, Quick flashback to 2018 when I was still I believe I was going into high school. My cousin just graduated from Berkeley, and going to his graduation ceremony, it was my first time seeing campus. It was a very, it was a very nice experience going and checking out the environment within Berkeley, seeing all the students coming in, and from then on, I knew that yeah, I think this is a place for me because of like just the feeling I was getting over there. Doing some research and figuring out that this is one of the top public universities in the world. It's known for its data science program, and I wanted to do something related to computer science and data science. I just knew that I think Berkeley is like one of my top choices, or it is the top choice. So yeah, so I applied three times actually. I applied from high school. I applied right after my first year of college and community college, and then I applied the last time when I was going ahead and uh, really like finishing my community college for the last time. There's like I had to transfer out, so there was no I finished all my classes at community college, and it was the time where I had to choose the college for the last time. But the point is that I was trying to make sure that I was utilizing every application period I had to, see if I can get in. And I did a lot of refining to my application, and I think, the reason why I got in the third time is because I was able to meet the right people to help me out, and I was able to create and craft my application and even craft myself in a way where I was aligning more towards the Berkeley values.
Wow, wow. There was no stopping you there. So, how did you approach writing your essays for the Berkeley application? What did you focus on?
Yeah, I focused on, the first thing is that in the University of California, the system of the University of California, they have only one application. So when you're applying to Berkeley, I'm essentially applying to all the other UCs, such as UCLA, UC San Diego, UC Santa Barbara, and whatnot. So really, when I was writing my essays, I was approaching it from a holistic point of view and as a point of view as a well-rounded student. So that usually meant that I talked about the things I did outside of school, the things I did to like help better my own community, and like talking a lot about my own perseverance and my own struggles going through life. They're looking for the passion, what you're trying to do. They're looking for what you have done and how you've made an impact versus trying to create a brag story about yourself. Like I know a lot of people who think that college applications is where you can brag all you want and like really show off like this and that. But at the end of the day, that's not really going to be deep to them because if you think about it in the point of view of college admission officers, they're reading tons and thousands of applications where, I'm sure they're reading about very fantastic applicants. It's really all about how you connect it to yourself, and some ways I did that was when I talked about like some previous things which I had to go through, especially during COVID times, and even things when I was very young, the things I used to create, the things I used to just play around with. You'd be very surprised about the things you've done as a young kid, which would really make a good essay. And yeah, I would focus on that really, honestly.
Right. So did you find the essays difficult? I mean, how did you figure it out what to write about?
It was really difficult at first, I'm not gonna lie. When I applied straight out of high school, I had some people trying to help me write my essays, and we went through a brainstorming session together where we just did a brain dump of everything I've done ever since I was growing up, like my hobbies, my interests, things which I really care about, um, any stories I have about my personal life, which makes me as a person more interesting, and so compiling that this sheet of everything about yourself, and then going on from that is a really hard step. Like most people would say, I mean, getting started is the hardest part. So just learn how to create and iterate very fast in terms of writing a very bad rough draft, and even creating and something which you would not like the next day. It's really all about iterating and trying to figure out what the perfect idea is. In fact, online, I was reading somewhere where people were giving tips on how to write college essays, and they were just like, well, first try to phrase this as, what is the worst prompt I can write? What's the worst essay I can write? And go ahead and write that essay. Then take like a 15-20 minute gap or period and do something physical, like a physical activity, and then come back and just see what you've written and try to, enhance that and go through that. So I'm not sure that works, but it seemed to have a lot of views online. And in fact, I met a person just recently who said that for his UC application, he just wrote a poem. So like he wrote like a poem, and now he's also at Berkeley. So
Oh, okay. Tell me, how did you explain your interest in artificial intelligence in your essay?
yeah, I think in college essays, they are looking for your passion for what career you're trying to go into. And I kept it somewhat vague because I was applying for statistics, I was applying for data science, and like I was saying, this is being used for all the UCs I'm applying for. So I really wanted to keep it towards like the general breadth of computer science and data science. Um, and I honestly, the only way I could think about connecting it from my own personal life experiences is about talking about how I you know did a lot with my hands growing up. Like I used to create like paper mache products and like whatnot, like just being creative. And that really ties into the whole world of STEM and like building and doing engineering. So that's like, I think honestly the way I tackled it. Nowadays I'm sure you can like talk about how artificial intelligence played a big role in your life. Now that has been a couple more years with the advent of GPT and all these other generative AI tools. But like honestly, I really took it as a reason as to why I want to do STEM. So I kept it somewhat broad.
So did you get any feedback on your essays? You said you asked for someone's help as well. Who helped you, and how did that improve that?
Yeah, over the span of these three applications I submitted, I got a lot of help from a lot of different people. Um, First starting off, my parents hired like this college application coach who, really helped me learn how to express my feelings and express the ways what I want to talk about onto paper. And that was a really good start because I was able to do a lot of good brainstorming with them, and I was able to go ahead and figure out what I wanted to talk about and what are some things which make me very unique. Um, and then going on from there, I really took advantage of the connections I was making. Like one thing about me is that like I love meeting new people, so I was constantly meeting new people within community college and also within UC Berkeley. Since I live in the Bay Area, I was able to, drive to Berkeley for an event or two the year before. I was getting more connected to Berkeley even before getting into Berkeley. So I found some people over there, and really grateful for the friends I made along the way because they were very experienced. They were very welcoming, and these are Berkeley students, and so they know what they're doing, but also like it just showcases how welcoming Berkeley overall is.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you make sure your essay reflected who you are?
Yeah, honestly, it was just a lot of revisions, a lot of me going back and trying to figure out how I can add more detail, like how I can add, like I was saying before, my own feelings into the application. So yeah, like I would say that I was just trying to go ahead and um, make sure that I was being the authentic self, my authentic self, and the stories which these UC applications are trying to get at is that they're just trying to get stories about how you lived your life, and it doesn't have to be very front focused on, oh, I want to do engineering because of this, this, and this. It can really be all about like how you persevere through an illness and how you overcame grief, or even how you overcame or even got specific opportunities growing up, like in high school, if you mentored students, or if you joined a club, or if you had any experiences within a club which showcased your leadership experiences. For example, a friend of mine, he was applying, and he was part of this team in his high school where they usually go to a competition at the end of the school year. And one of the team lead, one of the coaches actually passed away during the school year. So he had to come up and take role and take into accountability of how to go ahead and lead this whole team the school is going to take to the competition. And through his leadership experiences, through his perseverance, through his hard work, and being able to really take on the role of everything going on. He was able to go ahead and take the his school to that competition, and it was a very well, it was a really well written story. And honestly, I think if you can write about things like that, you would have a really good shot.
Right. So did you write anything about Berkeley, and how it was the right school for you, since you said you tried 3 times, and you got in? So how did you show that and that thing in your application?
Yeah, again, I didn't write anything specific about Berkeley. I really kept it general for all the UCs, even to the point where in some of my essays I said, and this is why I would love to be in the University of California, So just saying University of California, I was keeping it broad for all the different UCs I was applying for. But no, I didn't write anything specifically about Berkeley. I did take into account about a lot of the values Berkeley, obviously, values. So like within my application, I talked about my leadership experiences, and I think just my overall characteristics and personality was already being aligned with what Berkeley wanted.
Right. So do you think students should use AI tools that are available right now to help them with their essays? And if so, how can they use them without losing their own voice and getting flagged by the university for using AI?
Yeah, it's a very blurry line in terms of like if you can or cannot use AI. Like I know a lot of universities are trying to adopt themselves and figure out how they can go ahead and uh, leverage or not, or like restrict the use of AI for their students. But I would really try to stay away from trying to use AI for creating your words, or your phrases. But for maybe an idea, or trying to brainstorm some things out of yourself, it might be helpful to use it as as like as like a fake person to have it ask you questions about what you want to talk about. Like maybe it can give you more specific questions so that way it can understand you a little bit more, and then you can use it for like brainstorming, getting those ideas. But the best form of content revision and like checking up on content would be, having some friends out there or meeting people who would be willing to read through your essays and provide, genuine feedback. So I think that's pretty important. Yeah.
Right. So what advice would you give to students who are stuck on their essays? What are the major do's and don'ts?
Um, some dues would just be to get the point out without trying to be too flowery because these essays have a very precise word limit. You cannot really write more than this, and they're asking a lot, quite literally a lot from you within these word limits.
Mhm.
So they're looking for preciseness and conciseness, and they're looking for something in a way where you can talk about yourself. Um, so yeah, just like don't be too flowery. Like go ahead and talk in your own natural language, uh, and don't try to impress them with large words. Do try to write about something you're interested in reading, and you'd be interested in reading yourself. Take it, step by step. Uh, Try to be authentic. Don't worry about what the other person gonna think when they read this, and also try to just stay focused and relate everything to what you're saying in within your prompt or within your thesis. It can be very easy to go ahead and start talking about something completely different, but when it comes to, the prompt, you like went away from the prompt. So I'd always recommend having the prompt as like the header of your Google Doc or your page so you can always look back at it and see what you're writing about. Yeah, like being clear and concise is very important. And just try to draw the reader, try to have a good hook in the front of your essay to really show that, like, okay, this essay is something more important and more deeper, and this person's going to go in and it's going to show the application officer that you're going to go more deeper into the essay. Do not use any technical or any big jargon which you cannot really clearly explain. Um, just don't try to list all your extracurriculars or information, which is already available elsewhere. Within the UC application, there are other places where you can go ahead and talk about your extracurriculars, your clubs, your awards. So you don't have to go ahead and use this as a means to talk about that. And just try to not include anything which could move you away from the prompt, I'll say.
Right. So looking back at your own application, is there anything you would do it differently with your essay?
Um, no, I mean, I don't think so because, uh, you know, from like all the work I was putting in and all the iterations, at the very last time when I applied, I was able to get into most of the UCs that I applied for, such as UCLA, UC Berkeley, and whatnot. So I felt really happy about my progress, and I'm sure that there was something within my essays that really clicked for a lot of the application officers. So, at the end of the day, it's like the million dollar question as to what are the application officers looking at. There are people who write books about this. There are officers who come out and like do like interviews and like try to talk about what they're looking for. So, maybe I guess you can say like I was able to figure out what they're looking for. I was able to figure out how I can personally stand out. But it all comes down to how are you as a holistic person. For the UCs, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for not only good grades, but also good extracurriculars, your motivation, your passion for what you're trying to do, and how you're showing that throughout your essays. So I really showcase how like I love technology, and I was able to go ahead and do internships while at community college, which is, a lot of people told me, hey, I said you cannot, it's really hard to find internships at community college. Like, are you sure you'll find something? I was able to find some stuff. It just took a lot of time. It took a lot of networking, and I think that's the main point. what my growth was about, like connecting with people and learning how to make do with the opportunities throughout my surrounding environment. So honestly, I don't know. I don't think I could have done anything differently, but just don't. My last advice would just be to like don't take this essay as a brag sheet, and really try to come out as a person, not as like an applicant.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, Asad. I mean, your story is truly inspiring, and I'm sure it will help a lot of students who are thinking to apply to grad schools. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please leave your comments below. Until then, see you next time. Thank you, Asad, for joining us.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.
Likewise.